Story 1. I find women of all sizes attractive, but with shorter women, the appeal lies in cuddling and the ability to pick them up more easily. It's not a major preference, just a small bonus. Story 2. I like it because I am fairly short, so it is nice to be with someone closer to my size. It is rare to find someone who makes me feel taller, but it is not a necessity. Story 3. Honestly, I prefer shorter girls because their hands are smaller, which makes everything else look big. However, I'm not particular about height. Story 4. I appreciate their petite and cute appearance. I love how it allows me to be the strong man who can lift them and make them feel small and safe. It's a mutually beneficial dynamic. Story 5. Not just shortness by itself, but women who are 2 meters of ferocity in a 1.5 meter frame are absolute perfection. Story 6. My dad once told me, "Son, the only thing better than a tall woman wrapping her legs around you is a short one trying." Sound guidance from him on that one. Story 7. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and generally prefer shorter women. However, when I dated someone with dwarfism, I had to end things because she was always in my personal space. Story 8. They are just cuter, possibly due to a connection with shorter, smaller animals such as dogs, which are generally considered cuter. Since I prefer cute girls over those who are merely attractive, this is a win for me. Story 9. I enjoy looking down on others. Realistically, I find them cuter, and they activate my protective instincts. Additionally, they are lighter, which makes for some fun activities. There is a reason I have been trying to increase the weight I can lift. Story 10. They look cute, and it makes men feel more masculine. I would imagine it's why most women prefer taller men. Story 11. All my long-term girlfriends have been 5 feet 8 inches to 5 feet 10 inches tall, and my current girlfriend is 5 feet 1 inch. So I don't have a specific preference. The only real difference I have noticed is that some positions are easier and some are harder. However, my current girlfriend also makes me feel big, strong, and protective in a way I haven't experienced before, and I really love it. Story 12. It depends on the body type being discussed. Short and petite individuals are enjoyable for power play. When they are submissive, it can enhance feelings of dominance. Conversely, when they are dominant, they can be incredibly exhilarating. Short and curvy is a delightful combination. Their cuteness is nearly overwhelming. Short and athletic is an intriguing combination that I have yet to experience. However, I have been with average-sized athletic women, and the intimacy was extraordinary, so a shorter version of that would be thrilling. Story 13. I am petite and short. Not sure why, but I prefer being bigger than others. It triggers a stronger must-protect instinct in me than with others. Story 14. It makes me feel confident to pick people up, and even though I could lift someone my size, it's much easier to lift a shorter woman. I enjoy picking up people because I have insecurities. Story 15. Shorter individuals generally tend to have more youthful and attractive faces, regardless of gender. If I were to speculate on the science behind this, it could be that smaller bodies require less energy to appear healthy and fit. Story 16. It is likely the protective aspect. We also feel useful when needed to reach high places. Women often seem to prefer men who are taller than they are, so the protective aspect probably plays a role in their perception. Story 17. I am 4 feet 11 inches tall and I like shorter men, but the idea of a penis appearing larger because of my height never occurred to me. Story 18. I'm 4 feet 11 inches tall and have attracted men who are 6 feet 3 inches and 6 feet 4 inches tall. The fact that I can be intimate with them while standing has always made them more attractive to me. Additionally, short women can comfortably engage in romantic moments in a car. Story 19. Being 6 feet 2 inches tall, I like to lift my 5-foot tall wife for kisses. Then she just kicks me in the shins. We love each other. Really, we do. Story 20. Doing it doggy style is easier. I have dated girls who were 6 feet or maybe a little taller, and it seemed like the angles were always a little off. 5 feet 2 inches to 5 feet 8 inches is just right. Story 21. I am married to a short woman. What attracted me to her wasn't her height, which stood out, but rather my acceptance of it. Something I adore now. She is small, not even reaching 5 feet, essentially a short, fiery Italian woman. Loving, kind, and generous, she is usually soft-spoken, but don't mess with her kids. She has completely stopped talking to her mother after the woman made the mistake of being cold and dismissive to my daughter during our son's birthday about 5 years ago. It was a last straw type of situation. I will say that she is self-conscious about her height, particularly regarding how it might affect our children. She prays that none of them turn out to be as short as she is. Our oldest boy is already taller than she is, though, and the rest are quickly catching up, so it has eased her mind a bit. Story 22. I like how my appearance can seem more impressive compared to someone much taller. I also appreciate that smaller individuals can fit into tighter spaces than taller people. I will say that when a shorter individual asks for a lift and engages playfully, it feels easier on my back compared to when a taller person does the same. Story 23. I'm 5 feet 1 inch. Men always say they like that I am light and easy to pick up and throw around. Sadly, only a couple of them have actually done it as much as I would like. Story 24. Honestly, I find them more attractive. I have never been interested in tall women. I am 6 feet 1 inch, so I do not have many height restrictions when it comes to dating, but I have always preferred women of average height or shorter. Story 25. They are my type. Most of the relationships I have had in the past were with petite women, including one I almost married. Story 26. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall, and my wife is 5 feet 2 inches tall. I call her fun-sized. I also point out that we are the same height in bed. She fits under my arm when we walk, and our hands are at the same height when we hold hands. She just fits and is a great person to travel with on a plane, which is something we do often. Story 27. I like the contrast. I am 6 feet 4 inches tall, and my wife is 5 feet tall. I prefer women with a fuller figure, and generally shorter women tend to have cavia shapes. Story 28. It's interesting that this question should arise today because just yesterday I was reflecting on an encounter with a short woman. I was on my way to hike a local mountain trail when she approached me to ask for directions, as she was new in town. Long story short, while I was giving her directions, my mind started wandering, and I began to fantasize about various intimate scenarios I would have enjoyed with her near that bus stop. Short women appeal to some part of my brain on a fundamental level, even though I may not always be able to explain why. Story 29. Short women are equivalent to tall men in terms of attractiveness. This doesn't mean there aren't attractive tall women or short men. It's simply a preference for the majority. Story 30. I don't care about height. I enjoy seeing a tall woman's reaction when I pick her up, but I have only dated one woman who was taller than me. Story 31. Easier to dance with, like old school swing and salsa. It's much easier to perform the fancy moves that make us look cool as a couple. It's also just fun. Story 32. I'll have to ask my husband about this. I'm 4 feet 11 inches on a good hair day and he's 6 feet 1 inch. His ex-wife was very tall, around 5 feet 9 to 10 inches, and other partners have been of average to tall height. They were also American, whereas I'm mostly Italian, and my heritage tends to be shorter. Story 33. Fun size during cuddling makes sex positions more interesting since I can lift her more easily. I can kiss her from above, which I find cute. I see no downside to being with a shorter woman. Story 34. I am 5 feet 5 inches tall, and my wife is 5 feet 1 inch tall. She is adorable, even when she has her angry face. I am self-conscious about my height because both my dad and sister are taller than I am, so I feel even shorter when she is next to me. I guess it is a bit of an ego boost, too. Mostly the cute aspect, though. Story 35. I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall. I don't know what it is, but I've dated women 5 feet and shorter, and it really works for me. I cannot explain it. Story 36. Shorter women often have attractive thighs. I am not particularly attracted to long legs. That does not mean an average woman cannot have appealing thighs. It is just more common among shorter individuals. Story 37. I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall. Not every woman requires a man to be taller than her, or significantly taller, but a considerable portion does. To hedge my bets and conserve my energy and feelings, I pay less attention to women who are my height or taller, as I am much more likely to be rejected by them. Many of those taller women are attractive and I am drawn to them, but I will never consider them as serious possibilities because I think they are likely to overlook me as a dating candidate. I am in a better position to be seen as attractive by a woman who is significantly shorter than average. She might find men taller than me appealing, but she is more likely to be deterred by the practical challenges and the awkwardness of dating someone so tall, whereas my moderate height seems more manageable. In a way, she will definitely be settling for me, as I might not be perceived as strong or capable as the taller man. This is a common theme for women who pursue tall men, wanting to feel protected and safe, usually coupled with some version of relative femininity or delicateness. However, I am a more realistic candidate for her. So this is my roundabout way of saying that I am not more attracted to short women. I just think I have a better chance of being attractive to them, which is why I choose to focus my attention on them. Story 38. They look cute, but I have no idea why. If you take a tall woman with the same facial features, shape, and skin tone, and then place those features on a shorter girl, the shorter girl will appear cuter 90% of the time. Story 39. I find them cuter. It seems to me that some women have a personality that is somewhat based on their height. Short women tend to act cute, while tall women often appear more defiant. I don't expect them to be submissive, but they can be actively defiant for no apparent reason. Story 40. I am a short woman, and with my boyfriend, we really enjoy sitting in his lap facing each other. He said I am the first person he likes doing this with because his previous girlfriends were taller and heavier. Story 41. You can pat her on the head for doing good work quite easily. You can look down at the goods more innocently. Chicken fights become easier, and there is more access to different sexual positions. You no longer have to look under couches or beds for the missing sock because she is right there. I love my long-legged women, but there is something uniquely appealing about having a nymph. The downside is that I would spend a lot more time in bed. Story 42. When they stand on the tips of their toes to kiss, they look so doll-like and pure, evoking a need to protect them. I feel this way. It has nothing to do with their capabilities. Cuddling is wonderful when I can easily wrap them in my arms. Their bodies are adorable and captivating. They often have higher-pitched voices, which can be annoying, but they are also quite charming. Story 43. I'm short. It's just practical. I would not reject a tall woman, but let's be realistic here. No tall woman is likely to say yes to someone like me. Story 44. I am attracted to beautiful women. Height does not really matter. It is not that I particularly prefer short women. Story 45. My most adventurous ex and I had a lot more versatility in the bedroom, with me being 6 feet 2 inches tall and her being around 5 feet 4 inches. Story 46. I was the shortest kid in my year for 12 or 13 years of school and was called midget on a daily basis. I am of average height these days, but that part of my upbringing skews my perception of others. I can still see shorter people as taller than me on occasion. I love women of many shapes and sizes, but sometimes a shorter girl just feels right. Story 47. I am short and stocky with large muscles. I am skilled with a hammer. My wife is shorter than I am. I did not intend for this. I simply fell in love with a woman who is shorter than me. However, it does trigger my protective instincts. I feel the need to protect my queen. Story 48. I am tall, so I like short girls because they are a different size. I can move them around more easily. Story 49. I'm a short guy. Tall women are great in their own ways, but short women make me feel tall and confident in ways I don't usually experience. Like, can I reach that shelf? Why, yes, I can. Story 50. I have big hands and they have small hands. Everything looks bigger in their hands than in mine. Story 51. Being able to pick them up and toss them around, obviously with consent. Not extremely rough, but throwing them on the bed and seeing them bounce up. Story 52. Being able to pick her up and toss her around. I enjoy feeling very tall and resting my chin on her head when we are standing. Kissing her head is cute and makes her feel small. I also love getting things from the top shelf for her or playfully teasing her by holding items out of reach. Story 53. My wife has changed my preferences. She is a full head shorter than me. It's not that I don't like tall women. It's just that I love my wife, and I find her shortness attractive. Story 54. There are many interesting positions you can try when your partner is significantly shorter, especially if you enjoy taking the lead. Story 55. I think liking shorter girls is kind of the default. People in the know just like to playfully tease or be teased about it. Story 56. I am a 6'5", 270-pound blue-collar man with a thick beard. My life is run by a 4'11", 90-pound Latina. I think due to her small size, her sass level is through the roof. I find it hilarious when she playfully or non-playfully threatens or tries to intimidate me. There's also something attractive about being controlled by a woman much smaller than me. Story 57. I'm 6 feet tall. Women over 5 feet 10 inches usually prefer taller men. The issue isn't with me. I would date a 7-foot-tall woman. The National Basketball Association appeals to my children. Many people are still single in their 30s or have dated a limited number of very tall men and are now single mothers. Story 58. Shorter than me is good. I have dated women who are my size and larger. I prefer women who are smaller than me. It's all about enjoyment. Being intimate with them is much easier and more fun. Story 59. Until I was almost over the hill, I was very skinny. For me to be bigger than her, she would have to be short and petite. That is definitely part of it. But their size and shape have always appealed to me. Story 60. I am short, so shorter women suit me better. I also prefer women who are slender, as my build is on the smaller side. Story 61. I am short, so I find tall men generally appealing. Unfortunately, many short women prefer tall men. Story 62. As others have mentioned, it's not a big deal, but it is a nice bonus. It gives me a hard-to-describe feeling of masculinity, knowing that I can easily pick her up, hold her, or carry her. Cuddling feels very wholesome in a way. It looks really cute when a woman is short. Nothing more complex than that. It's just a preference, not something that is necessary. Story 63. I like size comparisons. I am 5 feet 10 inches tall and slim. I enjoy it when a girl is short and well-built, especially if she is physically strong and can overpower me. Story 64. I am just shy of 6 feet 3 inches tall. I have dated women in the 5-foot range multiple times. It is nice, but not something I consider a requirement. I would happily date a woman who was the same height as me if there was one around who was interested. I am not dating anyone nor looking, but if I were, height has never been a big concern for me. I am more interested in her smile. Story 65. The fact that 98% of you are around 5 feet 3 inches tall, if that, is already a numbers game for us. Unless you have this unwashed bad boy persona and can attract a girl effortlessly, you're likely going to end up dating someone shorter. You might as well accept it. Story 66. I prefer shorter women because intimacy feels less awkward and more positions are comfortable. I am 5 feet 6 inches tall, and my fiancé is 5 feet 3 inches. We fit together perfectly. While I have dated taller women close to 6 feet, it feels more natural to be with someone shorter. Additionally, she can wear heels and still be my height. Story 67. I don't really have a preference for height. Someone mentioned it's easier to pick up shorter individuals, which I understand. It's just a fun aspect of dating. I am a taller guy and can pick up the women I date regardless of their height. I am 6 feet 3 inches tall and have dated women who are 5 feet tall as well as those who are 5 feet 10 or 11 inches. I tried to date a woman who was around 6 feet 5 inches, but it didn't work out. From what I observe, men don't seem to care as much about height as women do. Story 68. I like them all, but I do have a preference for shorter Hispanic women. I am not sure why. Not that they have to be short, but many of them are. All my exes have followed a similar pattern in taste. Shorter Mexican women. It's nice to be able to pick them up easily. I can literally carry them with one hand. The last girl I was with was 4 feet 10 inches tall and weighed around 110 pounds, which made it easy to pick her up when she was too tired and needed to go to bed. She appreciated it and would say, "How can you pick me up so easily?" I find that adorable, and it's especially sweet when they cuddle up against you, particularly when they try to be the big spoon. It feels wonderful to hold them and make them feel safe and comfortable. Story 69. The best thing about shorter women is when you're cuddling and they fall headfirst into your chest. With taller women, you have to reach up to hug them, which feels a bit different. Story 70. Small hands make me feel more confident if I'm taller than others. Story 71. I didn't have a preference for shorter women until I dated one. I won't go into all the reasons she is great, but just the shortness. She is wonderful to hold in bed. We sleep on our sides, and she fits perfectly. All the parts just line up where they should. Story 72. As taller men, we can help her reach something from a high place. Short girls are cute. Story 73. The same thing I find appealing about tall women is that they are attractive individuals with features I admire. In general, as long as a person is shorter than 6 feet 4 inches and taller than 4 feet 9 inches, I am open to them. Exceptions would have to be made for those who are taller or shorter. Story 74. Cuddling short women is enjoyable. Short women often have small hands, which can enhance the perception of size. On the other hand, I appreciate being with tall women because it allows for quieter conversations in public, as I don't have to bend down to speak near their ear. Story 75. I like short girls, especially when they have a strong personality. I used to work part-time with a petite blonde girl who had more experience than I did, even though she was 2 years younger than me. I was taller than her, and I found it attractive how she taught me things. She was really confident and very cute when we sat close to our devices, especially since her chair was taller than mine. It's a shame she had a boyfriend, and I wasn't fond of that place. Story 76. As a shorter person, I appreciate that she can rely on me to help her reach items on the top shelf that she really wants. Story 77. I, a tall woman, know I shouldn't be reading the comments, but I do it anyway. Luckily, I found partners, mainly very tall ones, who are into it. These posts always resonate with me since it's widely known that many men, regardless of height, are attracted to shorter women. Story 78. To me, the difference between a man and a woman is one of the core aspects of my sexuality. I am big, strong, and dominant. She is small, weak, and submissive. That is one of the key things that makes sex appealing. If she is even smaller than usual, that is even better. Story 79. I am pretty short at about 5 feet 4 inches. As a man, it's nice to be the taller person, and at this height, the shorter the better. Story 80. I don't know. I'm built like Gimli, but I prefer taller and bigger women. I guess I feel like I'm conquering a giantess. Story 81. Women of every height and various sizes have their pros and cons. For shorter women, they are fun to spin around and pick up, which is quite effortless. I am relatively strong for my build. I once picked up and tossed a 6-foot, 180-pound woman across the room while being 5'9" and 145 pounds myself. It's generally adorable too. Story 82. I know everyone is going to claim that vaginas are all one size fits all, and for the most part they are. However, the difference lies in the sensation of how tight they feel. Women understand that a tall man is not guaranteed to have a larger penis, but it is more likely. The same applies to shorter women. In my experience, women in the 5 to 5.4 feet range tend to be much tighter than those in the 5.8 to 5.11 feet range. I am attracted to women between 4.10 and 6.2 feet, but my strongest attraction is to those between 5.2 and 5.5 feet. I do not choose women based on how tight their vagina may be. However, I recognize that there are men for whom that is important. Story 83. I am usually more attracted to the woman than her height. I prefer taller women, but it's not a hill I am willing to die on. The funny thing is that I had 3 short women in a row, so people I know think that is my type when it is not. Story 84. The shortness itself isn't what's appealing. It's the person who is. Her shortness is just one of the many things I can appreciate about her now that I know the person behind it. If she were a person I appreciated and were 7 feet tall, I would find her height cute too. Story 85. As a strong 6 foot 3 inch tall man, I refer to myself as fun-sized. For dating and dancing, I prefer a tall woman, 5 foot 9 inches and taller. To be honest, I love all women. Every woman has her ups and downs. Story 86. Honestly, I don't prioritize looks. I prioritize personality. My partner has the best personality, and she just happens to be short. We enjoy the height difference, though. Story 87. I'm a skinny guy, and I'm almost 5 feet 10 inches tall, so usually it's either by pure coincidence or because I meet some of the most stunning people who are shorter than me. At least I can feel like a big man for once. Story 88. I'm 6 feet 3 inches tall. Everyone around me is short. It's not like women of that height are waiting around every corner. Story 89. I'm glad you asked this question, and there are many positive answers to it. As a woman who is 5 feet 2 inches tall, I have often felt insecure about my height, especially when I am interested in guys who are under 5 feet 5 inches. This has happened quite a few times, as well as with friends who are my height or shorter. Recently, I have continued to feel this way. I make sure to wear heels that are 4 inches or taller almost whenever I go out for fun, though I still drive in flat shoes. I never know when I will see a single guy I am attracted to who is at least 5 feet 9 inches tall, but I don't care about height as long as he is anywhere between 5 feet 4 inches and 6 feet tall. Story 90. I find people attractive or not. Height has never played into that. I have had partners ranging from 4 feet 10 inches to 6 feet 1 inch, and their height never mattered to me. I will say that, at my height of 6 feet 1 inch, short women can be challenging to slow dance with. Other than that, I don't care. My wife is 5 feet tall and my partner is 5 feet 6 inches. We have been perfectly happy for 28 years. I would have felt the same even if they were 7 feet tall. Story 91. I love tiny women so much. They are adorable, and I just want to wrap my arms around them and take care of them. Story 92. I am attracted to women, some of whom happen to be short. I was going to say that height is completely unrelated to attraction, but that's not entirely true. If a woman is much taller than 6 feet or shorter than 5 feet, that would probably impact attraction to some extent. However, there is a significant range in the middle that includes the vast majority of women, including many shorter women. Story 93. I believe I am qualified to speak about this. I am 5 feet 8 inches tall and will be marrying a person of shorter stature in less than 2 months. People are defined by more than their height, weight, and income. Story 94. I'm not very tall, but I'm fine with a tall woman. At some point, I stopped caring about physical appearance and started liking personality more. Story 95. This has always been a thing for me, and I could never really tell why. It was just great. I liked it. Story 96. Very cute. I want to hug them even more. My first love, my high school girlfriend, was really short and petite. I remember her fondly. Story 97. There is no real reason for attraction. Just as one may often find a very skinny tall man with a very overweight woman, our body's attraction is a mystery that many spend years trying to understand. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall and have found shorter women, 5 feet or less, to be the most attractive. However, I ended up with a 6 foot tall woman whom I love dearly and will never part from. Story 98. I am a 5 foot 6 inch man who has always preferred shorter women. My partner is 5 foot 2 inches. When I hug her, I can kiss her forehead. When we're on an escalator, I stand one step lower and behind her, which is perfect for putting my arm around her waist while our eyes are level. Story 99. I think the spontaneous individuals tend to take the initiative, and there's something appealing about someone who isn't complaining to her friends about me sending mixed signals when I have no idea she even exists. Story 100. No, this question is backwards. The question should be in the Ask Women subreddit. Why do you like taller men? The biggest issue is that most women prefer taller men because they feel more comfortable knowing that a guy can pick them up, hold them, or cuddle with them. Typically, shorter women tend to be attracted to taller men. I identify as a short king. I usually date women slightly taller than me as I am 5 feet 7 inches, And most of the girls I date are between 5 feet 8 inches and 5 feet 9 inches. My more recent ex-girlfriend was 5 feet 4 inches tall, and she really enjoyed the idea of being with someone who could hold her. She was also one of those book lovers who preferred to date someone who loomed over her. My current girlfriend pushes me out of my comfort zone completely because she is 5 feet 11 inches tall. We have been together for several years now, and it has honestly been a great relationship, as we share very similar interests and ideologies. Story 101. My friend, who I liked in middle school, was short and had a big chest. She was attractive, but her teeth resembled Bugs Bunny's. Story 102. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall, and my preference is for individuals who are between 5 feet and 5 feet 4 inches tall. There is something about this height that strongly activates my protective and providing instincts. Story 103. You can pick up and cuddle it like a pillow. It's either that or be picked up and cuddled by someone taller. I for one say that both are good. Story 104. There's a woman I know who is 5 feet 2 inches tall, and when I'm around her, I feel mentally stimulated. When she looks up into my eyes while we are standing, I experience a strange sense of protectiveness and possessiveness over her. It's unusual, but that's the best way I can describe it. In shorter, healthy women, their thighs and hips often seem to have the perfect visual thickness, which the woman I'm mentioning also possesses. It drives me absolutely wild. Every time I see her, I want to pick her up, throw her on her desk, and embrace her passionately. Of course, I can't, as our relationship is professional, and she is married with children. However, the thoughts I have are definitely inappropriate. Story 105. I think they are cute and fun, and I feel more protective of her. She is smaller, so she actually needs me around, if that makes sense. Story 106. I usually think that tall men with short women often have an underlying issue they are trying to fulfill without legal consequences. Story 107. I like to see the target if I need to hit her on the head. They are just attractive and feminine. Story 108. I am somewhat ambivalent about height. What I don't like is when members of the opposite sex are larger than me. Specifically, I'm not referring to being overweight, but rather being proportional yet larger, as some men who are 6 feet 6 inches compared to my 5 feet 9 inches frame. I prefer petite or average height females, or those who are tall and slender. Story 109. She just happened to be short. She could be 6 feet 3 inches tall, and I would still be exactly where I am. Well, maybe I would get to be carried like a princess once in my life, but you know what I mean. Story 110. Shorter women understand their position in the social hierarchy, so they often adopt a playful demeanor. Taller women tend to have stronger egos and attitudes, which may make them more confrontational. Story 111. Can I share my perspective as a gay man? I feel quite differently from most straight men about this. Guys who are smaller than me, for some reason, make me feel submissive. Something about serving and pleasing a guy smaller than me excites me. The opposite is also true. Guys taller than me bring out my dominant side. Story 112. People do not have reasons for their preferences. Why do you like chocolate? You do not know. You just like it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.